In a world that never stops, where thoughts race, worries pile up, and the mind is constantly reliving the past or anticipating the future, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle emerges as a beacon of clarity and inner peace. This book is not just another self-help guide. It is an invitation to awaken, to step out of the endless noise of the mind, and to fully inhabit the present moment. Why is it so important? Because true transformation doesn't happen through external achievements or accumulating knowledge. It happens in the silent, conscious space of now. Tolle shows us how the mind can be both our greatest tool and our deepest trap, and he teaches practical ways to dissolve the patterns that keep us stuck in anxiety, regret, and distraction. Watching this video, you are taking your first step toward a profound shift, a journey into awareness, presence, and peace that can change the way you experience life forever. The wisdom in these pages isn't just to be read, it's to be lived, moment by moment, breath by breath. Welcome, dear friend. Here's a summary of a new book from the Bookamin channel, which features in-depth and detailed summaries of self-improvement books. If you're a fan of reading, please subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and don't forget to like, please, and let's get started. Introduction: Awakening to the Power Within. From the very first page, the book invites you to pause and notice something you may have overlooked. The present moment is the doorway to a deeper power that exists beyond thought. Most of our lives are lived in a constant stream of mental chatter, worries about the future, regrets about the past, and endless stories we tell ourselves. This mental noise clouds the awareness of a simple truth. There is a power that is always here, always present, and it is available to anyone willing to notice. The introduction opens by describing a fundamental shift, the recognition that you are not your mind. Many people live as if their identity is tied to their thoughts, emotions, and external circumstances, but Tolle emphasizes that our true essence lies beyond thought, in the awareness that observes these thoughts. This awareness is silent, calm, and unshakable. It is the source of the power the book explores. Real power is not the ability to control others, but the ability to master your own inner world. The author challenges the conventional idea of power as dominance, achievement, or material success. Instead, he presents a spiritual understanding of power. It arises when you connect with the present moment and allow your consciousness to expand beyond the confines of habitual thinking. True power is effortless because it does not struggle against life. It flows with it. A central idea introduced here is the pain body, the accumulation of past emotional pains stored in your consciousness. Most people carry this pain unconsciously, and it influences their reactions, decisions, and interactions with others. By becoming aware of the pain body, by observing it without identification, you begin to dissolve it. Awareness itself is a form of power. The introduction also addresses the illusion of time. Tolle emphasizes that living in constant anticipation of the future or in regret over the past disconnects you from the life that is available now. The present moment is not just a fleeting point between past and future. It is the only reality in which true power can manifest. Wherever you are, be there fully. That is power, that is freedom. Practical examples are woven into the narrative. For instance, the author invites the reader to notice daily moments, feeling the breath, observing thoughts, or simply listening, and to recognize the presence behind them. These exercises are not about doing more, they are about being more aware. Awareness itself is a form of mastery. The introduction also highlights the relationship between consciousness and external circumstances. While many believe power is about control over the outside world, Tolle clarifies that external situations are often beyond your direct control. The only true power is your relationship to the present moment, your response to life as it unfolds. When you anchor yourself in awareness, you act with clarity and effectiveness without being dominated by fear, anger, or anxiety. A striking point is the distinction between ego-driven power and conscious power. Ego-driven power seeks recognition, control, or validation. It is temporary, reactive, and exhausting. Conscious power, on the other hand, arises from stillness and awareness. It is stable, enduring, and deeply fulfilling. The author emphasizes that everyone has access to this power. It is not something external or reserved for a chosen few. Power is in the stillness within, not in the activity without. The introduction gently guides the reader toward a shift in perspective. Instead of identifying with problems, thoughts, or circumstances, you are encouraged to identify with the presence that witnesses all of this. This shift is subtle but revolutionary. It changes the way you experience life, turning ordinary moments into opportunities for connection, insight, and transformation. Another theme introduced is acceptance of what is. Power emerges not from resisting life, but from embracing it fully, even the challenges. Resistance to what is creates suffering, while acceptance allows energy to flow freely. From this state, conscious action emerges naturally, without strain or conflict. The introduction also addresses skepticism. Many readers may doubt whether awareness alone can create meaningful change in their lives. Tolle anticipates this and explains that power is not about belief or theory, it is about direct experience. You cannot fully understand it intellectually. You can only discover it by observing, feeling, and being present. Throughout the introduction, there is a strong invitation to practice. Tolle encourages small daily exercises, pausing to notice your breath, observing your thoughts without judgment, or simply being aware of the sensations in your body. These practices help anchor you in the present moment and allow you to experience the subtle yet profound power that exists within. Even a single moment of full presence can dissolve fear, awaken clarity, and reconnect you with life. The introduction concludes with a reminder that this power is available at all times. It is not something you earn or achieve. It is always here, beneath thought, emotion, and external circumstance. The journey through the book is about peeling away the layers of identification with mind and ego to awaken to this reality. In essence, the introduction sets the stage for the rest of the book. It prepares the reader for a journey into consciousness, presence, and inner power. It promises a life less dominated by mental noise, anxiety, and reactive patterns, a life guided by awareness, clarity, and effortless strength. The moment you become aware of the present, you step into the power that has always been there. The reader is left with a sense of possibility, hope, and curiosity. By observing, accepting, and connecting with the present moment, you can access the true source of power, a force that is silent, infinite, and transformative. This is the foundation upon which all 10 chapters will build. Chapter 1: You are not your mind. Most of the time, we live inside our heads. Thoughts come and go all the time. We worry about the future, remember the past, and tell ourselves stories about who we are. Because of this, we often feel like we are our thoughts, but that is not true. There is a part of you that watches your thoughts, a part that is aware of them, but is not the thoughts themselves. Imagine sitting quietly for a few minutes. Thoughts will appear, plans, fears, memories. Instead of following them, you just watch. You notice that thoughts come and go, and you are the one noticing. That is freedom. You are not your mind, you are the awareness behind it. When you realize this, you start to see something important. Much of our suffering comes from believing every thought we have. For example, if you make a mistake and tell yourself, "I am a failure," that thought controls your feelings. But if you notice it, here is a thought saying, "I am a failure," it loses its power. You are no longer trapped by it. Everyday life gives many chances to practice this. While waiting in line, instead of getting bored or upset, notice your thoughts. When something difficult happens, pause and watch your inner voice before reacting. Just noticing is a small but powerful step. It moves you from being controlled by your mind to being aware of it. Thoughts are like clouds passing in the sky. You are the sky, not the clouds. Your mind is useful, it plans, solves problems, and helps you think. But it can also run on autopilot, repeating old worries and habits. When you believe every thought, the mind dominates you. Awareness lets you step back, see clearly, and act with choice instead of reacting automatically. One easy way to notice your mind is through your body. Tension, stress, or anxiety often show up physically before your mind even notices. Your chest may feel tight, your stomach may twist, or your shoulders may tense. Paying attention to these sensations brings you to the present and helps you see thoughts without being controlled by them. Another example is in conversation. If someone says something upsetting, the mind may react with anger or blame. But if you notice, here is a thought telling me to get angry, you create a pause. In that pause, you can choose to respond calmly. That is power. Many thoughts are just old habits from the past. Awareness lets you see these patterns. For example, thinking "I always fail" is a habit, not truth. By noticing it, you break the pattern and feel lighter. At first, observing your mind may feel strange or restless. The mind wants to be busy, but every time you notice a thought without following it, you strengthen awareness. Over time, thoughts still appear, but they no longer control your emotions or actions. You are not the thinker of your thoughts, you are the awareness in which they appear. This understanding changes life. Imagine dealing with someone frustrating. If you are lost in your mind, you feel upset, react, or argue. But if you are aware, you notice your thoughts and can respond clearly. You stay calm and make better choices. Even small practices help. Take a few deep breaths in the morning and notice your thoughts. Watch them without judging. Notice tension in your body and trace it to a thought, not to the present moment. These exercises slowly break the habit of being trapped in your mind and open the door to peace and inner strength. The real power is in the present moment. The mind often drifts to the past or future, which creates stress. Awareness of the now, noticing your breath, your body, your surroundings, is where power lies. The more you watch your thoughts without following them, the less they control you, and the more life flows naturally. Life begins to feel different. Simple moments, walking, washing dishes, listening to someone, become alive. Presence brings clarity, calm, and even joy. Awareness is the hidden power that is always with you. Every moment is an opportunity to notice thoughts without becoming them. Each time you do, you step into your power. Over time, this awareness becomes natural, helping you live a life less dominated by thoughts and more guided by clarity, calm, and strength. Chapter 2: The Greatest Source of Power. Most people spend their lives searching for power in the outside world, in money, status, or control over others. They think that if they can achieve certain things, they will feel strong, confident, and secure. But this search is endless, because true power is not found in what is outside of you. Real power comes from within, from a place that is quiet, steady, and always present. It comes from the simple act of being aware of the present moment. When you are fully aware of now, you connect with a part of yourself that does not depend on success, achievements, or approval. This inner presence is calm, clear, and unshakable. It is always available, and it is the greatest source of strength you can ever have. Unlike external power, it cannot be taken from you, and it does not disappear with changing circumstances. Most people confuse their thoughts and emotions with their true self. They believe that they are their worries, fears, or even their plans for the future. But this is an illusion. Thoughts are like clouds that appear and disappear in the sky. The sky itself does not change because of the clouds, and in the same way, your true self does not change because of your thoughts. By noticing this, you begin to step into real power. Awareness of the present moment is the key. When your attention is focused on now, not the past you regret or the future you fear, you discover clarity. Decisions become easier, actions become more purposeful, and your energy is no longer wasted on unnecessary struggle. Life starts to feel lighter because you are no longer trapped in a constant cycle of mental noise. Fear, anger, and anxiety are only powerful when you believe in them. They feed on your identification with thought. The moment you step back and observe them, they lose their control over you. You begin to see that you are not the fear itself, but the awareness in which fear appears. This shift is subtle but profound. It is the difference between being pushed by life and moving through life with calm presence. Another aspect of this inner power is acceptance. Accepting life as it is does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It means acknowledging reality without fighting it. Resistance drains your energy and creates tension. Acceptance allows energy to flow freely and gives you the clarity to act when action is needed. Power is not in struggling against life. It is in flowing with it while staying aware and present. You can experience this power in small ways throughout your day. Even a few seconds of noticing your breath, feeling your body, or simply paying attention to your surroundings connects you to this inner source. Each moment of awareness strengthens your connection to the present and to the quiet power that always exists within. Thoughts are useful, they plan, solve problems, and help you communicate. But when you let the mind run on autopilot, it can take control and create stress. When you identify with every thought, you allow the mind to dominate your emotions and actions. Awareness gives you the space to see clearly, respond consciously, and act without unnecessary tension. True power is not in forcing life to go your way, but in being fully present as life unfolds. This source of power is also the foundation for freedom. Freedom does not mean escaping life or avoiding responsibilities. It means living without being controlled by reactive thoughts and emotions. When you are present, you are free to choose your response instead of being trapped in automatic reactions. Life becomes more open and possibilities appear naturally. Even when life is difficult, presence gives you strength. Challenges and obstacles are inevitable, but if you remain aware, you do not react from fear or anger. You respond with calm, clarity, and purpose. This is not a power that dominates others. It is a power that strengthens your own mind, body, and spirit. Many people think they must struggle to gain power. They push themselves, control others, or chase achievements endlessly. But real power does not require force or struggle. It is effortless because it comes from alignment with the present. When you are aware, your actions are more effective, your choices are clearer, and your energy is focused where it matters. Power is in awareness. It is not about control, force, or achievement. It is simply being fully present. When you start noticing this power in yourself, life begins to change in subtle ways. You no longer feel pulled by worries or regrets. You act with intention, not reaction. Your presence naturally influences the world around you because it radiates calm, clarity, and confidence. Others respond to you differently because your energy is steady, grounded, and free from unnecessary tension. Awareness also helps you recognize the patterns of the mind. Many thoughts are repetitive habits formed in the past. They are not truth, they are simply familiar ways of thinking. By noticing them, you prevent them from controlling your life. Each time you observe a thought without being carried away, you step further into your own power. When you are fully present, even ordinary moments become powerful. Power is not something you have to fight for. It is not earned through struggle or external achievement. It is already within you, waiting for you to notice. Every time you bring your attention to the now, you step into this source. Every moment of awareness strengthens your presence and connects you with life more fully. The greatest source of power is simple and quiet. It does not depend on conditions or circumstances. It does not rise and fall with success or failure. It is always present, steady, and accessible. The more you practice presence, the more naturally you live from this source. You respond to challenges without fear, handle stress with calm, and move through life with effortless strength. Even small moments, a deep breath, noticing a sound, feeling your body, are enough to remind you of this power. Over time, these moments add up. Awareness becomes a natural part of life. Your mind no longer dominates you. Your actions become clearer, and your connection with the present moment deepens. The power you are looking for has never been outside you. It has always been within, waiting for your attention. Real power is not about controlling others or the world. It is about mastering yourself. It is about living fully, moment by moment, with awareness. Every time you notice your thoughts without becoming them, you step into your strength. Over time, this inner power transforms the way you live, making life calmer, clearer, and more meaningful. Chapter 3: Freedom from the Mind. Most of our suffering comes from the mind. Thoughts run constantly, replaying the past or imagining the future. We believe these thoughts are real, and we let them control our feelings and actions. But there is a way to step free from this automatic control, a way to live with clarity and peace even when the mind is active. Freedom begins when you notice your thoughts without being caught in them. When a thought arises, worry, anger, or doubt, you simply observe it. You say silently, "Here is a thought, and I am aware of it." This small act of observation creates a space between you and the mind. In that space, you are free. You are no longer reacting automatically. The mind is a tool, but when you identify completely with it, it becomes a prison. Most people think, "I am my thoughts." They take every thought seriously, believing it to be truth. This identification fuels stress, fear, and inner conflict. But when you realize that thoughts are temporary and that you are the awareness behind them, a new kind of freedom emerges. This freedom does not mean silence in the mind. Thoughts will continue to appear, but the difference is that you are not carried away by them. You see them as passing events, like clouds moving across the sky. You remain calm, centered, and connected to the present moment. Freedom is the space in which thoughts come and go, without holding power over you. Another important aspect of freedom is not resisting what is. When life feels difficult, the mind reacts with struggle, judgment, or anger. Resistance creates tension and suffering, but when you accept the moment as it is, without approving or disapproving, energy is released. You can respond effectively instead of being trapped in reaction. Even small practices help build this freedom. For example, focusing on your breath or simply noticing your surroundings brings attention away from thought and into the present. Every time you do this, you strengthen the connection to awareness and weaken the automatic grip of the mind. Living with freedom from the mind also changes how you experience emotions. Fear, anger, and anxiety lose their intensity when you are aware of them. You start to see them as signals rather than truths. You can acknowledge them without letting them control your actions. This does not mean avoiding life. It means living with clarity and choice. Emotions are waves. Awareness is the ocean. You are not the wave. You are the vast, calm water beneath. True freedom is also about inner stillness. When you are present, the constant mental chatter slows. The mind becomes a servant rather than a master. In this calm, clarity appears naturally. You can make better decisions, communicate more effectively, and act with intention instead of reaction. This freedom is available at any moment. You do not need special circumstances or achievements. You do not need to control the outside world. The only requirement is your awareness. By observing thoughts, staying present, and not identifying with the mind, you step into freedom. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that watches them. In that awareness, you are free. Over time, this freedom becomes natural. You no longer feel constantly pulled by mental noise. You respond to challenges calmly. Life feels lighter, clearer, and more meaningful. You experience power and peace at the same time, not because life has changed, but because your relationship to your mind has changed. The chapter closes with a simple but powerful reminder. Freedom is not something to chase. It is something to notice. Every moment in which you are aware, fully present, and not lost in thought is a moment of freedom. Each small pause, each act of observation strengthens your ability to live without being controlled by the mind. The moment you notice you are thinking, you step into freedom. The mind can continue, but it no longer controls you. Freedom from the mind is the foundation for a life of clarity, calm, and true power. When you live from awareness, your actions are conscious, your emotions are balanced, and your presence radiates strength. It is a freedom available to anyone, quiet, simple, and always present, waiting for you to notice. Chapter 4: Entering the Now. Life is always happening in the present moment, yet most people spend almost all of their time trapped in thought. They replay memories of the past, worry about the future, and plan endlessly for things that may or may not happen. Because of this, they miss the only reality that truly exists, the now. The present moment is the space in which life unfolds, the only time when you can actually experience peace, clarity, and true power. Entering the now is not about stopping your thoughts. Thoughts will continue to arise, and the mind will continue to speak. The key is awareness, noticing these thoughts without being carried away by them. When a thought arises, instead of reacting automatically, you simply observe it. You acknowledge it without judgment, knowing that it is not who you are. This simple observation creates a space between you and the mind, and in that space, you find freedom. The mind often convinces us that we are trapped. It tells us that life will only be complete once we achieve something in the future, or that we must dwell on the past to make sense of ourselves. But this is an illusion. The past exists only as memory, and the future exists only as imagination. The only reality is now, this moment, this breath, this awareness. When you fully inhabit the present, you connect with life directly. The present moment is all there ever is. Everything else is a mental story. One way to enter the now is through the body. The body is always in the present. Your breath, the sensation of your feet on the ground, or the movements of your hands cannot exist outside the present moment. By bringing attention to these sensations, you anchor yourself in the now. You do not need to force anything or try to stop thinking. You only need to notice. Awareness of your body is a doorway into presence. Another essential step in entering the now is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passivity or giving up. It does not mean agreeing with everything that happens. It simply means acknowledging reality as it is without unnecessary resistance. Resistance creates tension, stress, and inner conflict. Acceptance, on the other hand, allows energy to flow freely. When you accept the present moment, you can act with clarity and purpose instead of reacting in fear, anger, or frustration. The mind constantly tries to pull you away from the present. It replays memories, worries about the future, and constructs endless stories about who you are and what life should be. Each time you notice that you have been pulled into thought and gently bring your attention back to the now, you strengthen your connection to awareness. This repeated practice is like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger your presence becomes, and the less control the mind has over your life. Each return to the present moment is a step into freedom and power. When you are in the now, emotions also change. Fear, anger, anxiety, and even sadness are often linked to thoughts about past or future events. When your attention is fully in the present, these emotions lose their intensity. They may still appear, but they no longer dominate your mind or your life. Awareness transforms the way you experience emotions, giving you clarity, calm, and inner stability. Even simple daily activities can become profound when done with full presence. Walking, breathing, eating, or listening to someone can become deep experiences of life if you are aware of them fully. You do not need dramatic experiences to feel alive. The present moment itself is enough. Each moment you inhabit fully is a source of energy, clarity, and inner strength. Entering the now is not just about personal peace. It also affects your decisions and actions. When the mind is quiet, clarity naturally appears. You make better choices, communicate more effectively, and act with purpose rather than reacting automatically. Being present allows your energy to be focused where it is most needed. Life becomes easier and more harmonious because you are no longer constantly pulled by thoughts and mental noise. True intelligence and power are found in awareness, not in endless thought. It is natural to get distracted. Thoughts will continue to arise, and emotions will pull at you. Entering the now is not about perfection or never thinking. It is about noticing and returning again and again. Every time you do this, you strengthen your presence. Each return to the present moment increases your freedom, your clarity, and your ability to live fully. Over time, this becomes a natural way of being. Living in the now also brings a sense of healing. Many forms of stress, tension, and suffering are caused by living in the past or the future. When you focus on the present, you release this tension and create space for peace, clarity, and inner calm. Life feels lighter because you are no longer dragged by regrets, fears, or imagined problems. Awareness of the present moment allows life to flow naturally without resistance or struggle. Nothing in the past or future can control you, only your identification with thought does. Stay present and you are free. The present moment is not just a moment of peace, it is also a source of power. Power is not about controlling life or other people. It is about being fully present and acting with clarity and intention. Each moment you are aware, you are connected to the deepest source of strength that exists within you. This inner power is steady, constant, and unaffected by external circumstances. Awareness of the now is simple, but it requires practice. Even a few seconds of noticing your breath, your body, or your surroundings can reconnect you to this power. Each time you bring attention fully into the present, you strengthen your connection to life, clarity, and inner strength. Over time, presence becomes natural, and you no longer feel dominated by mental chatter. Life becomes calmer, decisions clearer, and your experience of existence richer and more meaningful. The now is always available. It does not depend on achievements or conditions. Life is here, and so is power, waiting for you to notice it. In conclusion, entering the now is a practice of awareness, acceptance, and attention. Each moment you notice your thoughts without being carried away, each moment you bring your awareness to the present, you step into freedom, clarity, and power. Life is happening now. Every moment is an opportunity to connect with what is real. Every moment is a chance to live fully, consciously, and peacefully. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, be present. The now is always here. Life is waiting, and so is your power. Chapter 5: Letting Go of Time. Time is one of the most common sources of stress and tension in life. Many people live as if the past and the future are more important than the present. They constantly worry about what might happen or regret what has already happened. Yet, the past and future exist only as thoughts in the mind. Life itself unfolds only in the present moment. Letting go of unnecessary attachment to time opens the door to peace, clarity, and real power. Most of the stress and suffering in life comes from either reliving the past or worrying about the future. We replay memories, hold onto old regrets, or imagine possible disasters that may never happen. Our minds are rarely quiet, and we often mistake this constant stream of thought for reality. But thoughts about the past or future are just mental patterns. They are not life itself. Life is always happening now, in this moment, in your awareness. The present moment is where life exists. The mind's stories about past and future are illusions. Letting go of time does not mean forgetting the past or ignoring the future. It means no longer letting them dominate your experience. Memories and plans are useful, but they should serve you, not control you. When the mind constantly drifts into what was or what could be, it pulls you away from life itself. By bringing attention to the present, you step out of this mental trap and into freedom. One of the first steps in letting go of time is awareness of thought patterns. Notice when your mind is dwelling on past mistakes, missed opportunities, or imagined worries about the future. Simply observing these thoughts without judgment is already a form of release. Each time you notice that the mind has carried you away and you bring attention back to the present, you reclaim your life. Another key aspect is acceptance of the present moment. Resisting the current situation, wishing it were different, or blaming circumstances creates tension. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It means acknowledging reality as it is without unnecessary struggle. Once you accept the moment, your energy is no longer wasted in resistance. Instead, you can act from clarity, calmness, and understanding. The mind often confuses urgency with importance. People rush through life, believing that future goals are more important than the now. They delay living, thinking that happiness and fulfillment exist in what will come. But life is not postponed. Every moment you spend worrying or dwelling in the past is a moment of life lost. Letting go of time allows you to experience the richness of now, moment by moment. Do not live as if life is elsewhere. The only place life exists is here and now. Even small practices help cultivate freedom from time. Focusing on the breath, noticing your body, or observing your surroundings reconnects you to the present. These practices anchor attention in the now, reducing mental noise and creating space for clarity. Each return to the present is a step toward letting go of unnecessary attachment to past or future. Emotions are closely tied to our relationship with time. Anxiety often arises from imagined future problems, while guilt or regret is tied to past events. When you bring attention to the present, these emotions lose their grip. You start to experience them without being controlled. Awareness transforms emotional reactions, allowing calm, clear, and thoughtful responses instead of impulsive ones. Another way letting go of time affects life is in relationships. Many conflicts arise because people project the past onto others or fear future outcomes. When you are fully present, you listen and respond without these mental projections. Your presence becomes a stabilizing force, not only for yourself, but also for those around you. Time is a tool of the mind, not a prison. Life exists in this moment. Letting go of time also enhances creativity and clarity. When the mind is quiet and not preoccupied with past or future, space opens for insight and understanding. Solutions to problems often appear effortlessly when you are fully present. The mind no longer struggles to force answers. Awareness itself allows clarity to emerge. Even though the mind will continue to think about the past or imagine the future, letting go of time means not allowing these thoughts to dominate. You observe them, notice their passing, and return to the present. This practice strengthens your awareness and gradually creates a natural state of presence. Over time, you become less reactive, calmer, and more in tune with life as it unfolds. Freedom is found when you no longer identify with time. The past is gone, the future is not here. Life is only in this moment. By letting go of time, you also reduce unnecessary stress. Deadlines, plans, and worries about what might happen create tension when you attach your happiness and peace to them. Awareness of the present moment allows life to flow without constant struggle. You begin to act with intention rather than pressure, respond instead of react, and live with a sense of calm clarity. The greatest benefit of letting go of time is inner freedom. When the mind is not dominated by past regrets or future fears, you are free to experience life fully. Your energy is available for meaningful action, and your attention is fully in the now. This is where real power exists, not in control over circumstances or achievements, but in the ability to live fully and consciously. The mind's obsession with time is the source of most suffering. Let go, and life opens before you. Letting go of time does not happen all at once. It is a practice, a habit that strengthens with repetition. Every moment you notice yourself in the present, every time you observe a thought without being carried away, you reclaim life from the mind. Over time, presence becomes natural. Life becomes lighter, more peaceful, and more vibrant. Your decisions are clearer, your emotions calmer, and your connection with yourself and the world deeper. The now is always available. Let go of time and step into it. This is where life truly exists, and this is where your power lies. In conclusion, letting go of time is about awareness, acceptance, and presence. Each moment you choose to live fully, without being trapped by past or future, is a moment of freedom and power. Life is not somewhere else, and happiness is not in what has passed or what is coming. Life is here now, waiting for your full attention. By letting go of time, you step into life itself, and in doing so, you step into your true power. Chapter 6: Dissolving the Ego. The ego is a sense of I created by the mind. It is the story you tell yourself about who you are, your identity, your roles, your accomplishments, and your failures. The ego is not inherently bad. It is part of the mind's function. But when the ego dominates, it creates separation, fear, and suffering. Most people live almost entirely through their ego, defining themselves by thoughts, emotions, and external circumstances. The ego always seeks validation. It wants approval from others, recognition, and superiority. It compares, competes, and clings to status. This endless pursuit is exhausting because it is based on the illusion that your worth depends on outside conditions. The ego thrives on thought patterns and stories about the past and the future. It wants you to believe that happiness and security are somewhere else, not in the present moment. True freedom and inner power arise when you step out of ego identification. This does not mean rejecting who you are or abandoning ambition. It means realizing that your core self exists beyond the ego's stories. You are the awareness in which these thoughts appear. By noticing the ego, observing it without attachment, and refusing to let it control you, you begin to dissolve its power. The ego is not you. You are the awareness in which the ego appears. The first step in dissolving the ego is awareness. Pay attention to moments when the mind clings to identity, the need to be right, the desire for recognition, or the fear of being judged. Simply noticing these moments weakens their grip. The ego survives on unconscious belief. The more conscious you become, the less power it has. Another aspect of ego dissolution is acceptance of reality. The ego resists what is. It wants life to conform to its desires. Resistance creates tension, stress, and inner conflict. By accepting reality not as surrender, but as acknowledgement, you release the ego's hold. Life can then flow naturally, and your actions emerge from clarity instead of fear or desire. The ego also feeds on comparison. It measures itself against others: who is better, who is stronger, who has more. Comparison creates dissatisfaction and envy. When you remain present and aware, comparison loses its appeal. You see that each person, including yourself, exists in the now. Your worth is not determined by how you measure up to others. Ego is a constant comparison. Awareness dissolves it. Emotions are closely tied to the ego. Anger, pride, and jealousy often arise from egoic identification. By observing these emotions without judging them, you realize that they are temporary waves of the mind. You do not need to act on them. Awareness allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Over time, this reduces conflict and creates calm in relationships and within yourself. The ego also creates fear of failure, rejection, or being insignificant. These fears are mental constructs, often amplified by identification with thought. Awareness reveals their illusory nature. When you focus on the present, fears lose their intensity because the present moment is not threatening. It is only through the mind's stories that fear seems real. Fear exists only in thought. Awareness is beyond fear. Another key to dissolving the ego is living in the present. The ego exists in time, in memories, and imagined futures. It clings to what has happened or what might happen. The present moment, however, is free from these mental patterns. When attention rests in the now, the ego cannot dominate. Awareness of the present is a direct path to freedom. Even ordinary actions, breathing, walking, listening, become opportunities to weaken the ego. Each moment of pure presence, where you are not identifying with thought or judgment, reduces the ego's influence. Over time, presence becomes natural, and you live less through ego and more through awareness. Every moment of presence dissolves the ego bit by bit, until awareness becomes your natural state. The ego often creates a sense of separation. I am here, others are there, I am different, not enough, or superior. Awareness dissolves this separation. You begin to see yourself and others as part of life unfolding. Compassion, empathy, and understanding arise naturally because the ego no longer dominates perception. Letting go of the ego is not a one-time achievement. It is a continuous practice of noticing, observing, and returning to presence. Thoughts, emotions, and desires will continue to appear, but you no longer take them as absolute truths. You see them as temporary events in consciousness. This awareness transforms your life, creating calm, clarity, and inner strength. The ego wants to control, possess, and compare. Awareness lets life flow freely. As the ego dissolves, freedom increases. Life becomes lighter, and inner power grows. You act with clarity instead of reaction. Your energy is not scattered by fear, pride, or desire. You respond to challenges effectively because your mind is no longer dominated by egoic thought patterns. The process of dissolving the ego also deepens your connection to life. You are more present in every interaction, more attentive to your own inner state, and more aligned with what truly matters. You discover that happiness, peace, and power were never outside you. They existed within your awareness, waiting for recognition. Ego is an illusion. Awareness is reality. Step into the awareness and you step into freedom. In conclusion, dissolving the ego is about recognizing that your true self is not your mind or your thoughts. It is about observing without attachment, accepting reality, and living in the present. Each moment of awareness reduces the ego's influence, bringing you closer to inner peace, clarity, and effortless power. Freedom from ego is not a distant goal. It is available every time you notice the present moment and let go of identification with thought. Your true power is in awareness. Your true freedom is in presence. Let go of ego and you are free. Chapter 7: Relationships and the Ego. Relationships are deeply affected by the ego. Most conflicts, misunderstandings, and tension in life arise not from external circumstances, but from the stories the mind tells about ourselves and others. The ego is constantly comparing, judging, and defending. It seeks recognition, superiority, and validation. When we interact with others through the lens of ego, communication becomes reactive, judgmental, and often painful. The ego creates a sense of separation. I am here, they are there. It wants to protect itself, and in doing so, it builds walls. These walls prevent true connection. Love, understanding, and empathy are limited when the ego is in control because the ego focuses on comparison, fear, and self-interest rather than presence. The ego sees others as separate, as a threat or a tool. Awareness sees connection and life flowing. To transform relationships, it is essential to observe the ego in action. Notice when you feel defensive, jealous, or superior. Observe when your mind judges someone or expects something from them. Simply noticing these patterns without acting on them begins to dissolve their influence. Awareness creates a pause, a space in which choice appears. You can respond with calm, clarity, and understanding instead of reacting impulsively. Most people unconsciously project the past onto others. A small disagreement may trigger memories of previous conflicts or old resentment. The ego reacts automatically, as if the current situation were the past repeating itself. Awareness allows you to see that the past is not happening now. Each moment is new, and your response can be conscious rather than reactive. The ego also seeks approval and recognition in relationships. It wants others to agree with you, admire you, or validate your beliefs. When you notice this tendency, you begin to step out of egoic control. Relationships no longer feel like battles to protect identity. Instead, they become opportunities for presence, understanding, and shared connection. The mind wants approval. Awareness lets connection flow naturally. Emotions in relationships are deeply tied to the ego. Anger, jealousy, and pride often arise not from the other person's actions, but from the ego's interpretation of those actions. By observing emotions without judgment, you reduce their intensity. Awareness allows you to act thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively, which transforms the quality of your interactions. Another key element is listening deeply. Most people listen with the ego in mind. They are waiting for their turn to speak, to respond, or to prove themselves right. Listening with awareness means fully focusing on the other person, without judgment, expectation, or defense. This presence creates understanding and harmony that the ego cannot produce. To truly hear another, you must be free from the mind's need to judge, control, or compete. Conflict arises when the ego wants to control outcomes. It fears being wrong, weak, or vulnerable. Awareness allows you to step out of this fear-based thinking. You can see the situation clearly, understand the other person's perspective, and respond with calm and clarity. Conflict transforms from struggle into communication, from tension into understanding. Even small changes in awareness have a profound impact on relationships. Pausing before reacting, noticing a judgment, or observing a surge of emotion creates a space for conscious choice. Over time, this practice strengthens presence, reduces unnecessary tension, and deepens the quality of interaction. Every moment you are aware in a relationship, you dissolve the ego's influence and connect more deeply. The ego thrives on comparison in relationships. It measures who is more successful, smarter, or better. Awareness dissolves this comparison, allowing you to see others as they are, without the mind's filters. You begin to experience connection rather than competition, understanding rather than judgment, and presence rather than expectation. Living relationships with awareness transforms not only how you interact with others, but also how you see yourself. You no longer define your worth based on approval, recognition, or comparison. You recognize that your value exists independently of external validation. Awareness grounds you, and in this grounded state, your relationships become more authentic, compassionate, and harmonious. Freedom in relationships comes when you stop identifying with thought and ego. Presence alone creates connection. This awareness also affects love. The ego often tries to control love, to possess, or to define it according to its expectations. Real love arises when presence replaces the mind's need to control. Love becomes unconditional, compassionate, and freeing because it is not filtered through judgment, expectation, or fear. In families, friendships, and partnerships, the ego can create patterns of conflict that repeat over years. Old habits of mind influence new interactions. Awareness interrupts these patterns. By observing old triggers without reacting, you break cycles of tension and create a new space for understanding and harmony. Awareness breaks the chains of habit and ego in relationships. It opens the door to real connection. Even in difficult relationships, awareness provides freedom. You can remain calm when others act out, respond thoughtfully instead of reactively, and maintain inner peace. You are no longer pulled into drama because your presence is independent of external circumstances. This does not mean detachment from life. It means engaging fully without being controlled by mental patterns. Awareness also strengthens compassion. When you see the ego in yourself and others, you understand that most actions arise from fear, need, and habitual thought. This understanding dissolves judgment, creating space for empathy and kindness. Relationships transform as you act from presence rather than reaction. Compassion arises when you see the mind's patterns clearly. Awareness replaces judgment with understanding. The final aspect of relationships and ego is freedom. Most conflict and suffering in relationships come from identification with thought, judgment, and expectation. Awareness creates a state where you can love, communicate, and engage without ego interference. You are free to respond consciously, without fear, without need for control, and without being dominated by the mind. Freedom in relationships is not about changing others. It is about dissolving ego in yourself. In conclusion, relationships are mirrors that reflect the ego. By observing the ego in action, noticing thoughts and emotions without judgment, and returning to presence, you dissolve its power. Awareness transforms relationships, reduces conflict, and creates harmony. Freedom, clarity, and connection are the natural results. Each moment of awareness in interaction is a step into a life where love, understanding, and presence guide every action. Presence in relationships is the antidote to ego. Awareness is the path to harmony and freedom. Chapter 8: Beyond Thought. Most of life as we experience it happens in the mind. Thoughts constantly arise, carrying memories, judgments, fears, and desires. While thoughts are useful for planning, solving problems, and navigating life, they often dominate our awareness. When we identify completely with thought, we miss life itself. Beyond thought lies a deeper level of awareness, a place of presence, clarity, and freedom. This is where real life unfolds. Thoughts are like waves on the surface of an ocean. The waves move, rise, and fall, creating movement and noise. But the ocean itself remains vast, still, and unaffected. In the same way, your awareness is like the ocean, vast, silent, and constant. Thoughts arise and disappear, but awareness is always present. Real power and peace come from resting in this awareness, beyond the constant flow of thoughts. Thoughts are temporary, awareness is permanent. Step beyond thought and you find freedom. Moving beyond thought does not mean trying to stop thinking. The mind will continue to generate ideas, worries, and plans. Attempting to suppress thought is counterproductive. It creates tension and struggle. Instead, moving beyond thought is about observing thoughts without becoming them. You notice them as passing phenomena, like clouds drifting across the sky. In that observation, you are no longer controlled by thought. The practice of moving beyond thought begins with awareness of the present moment. Every time you focus on the now, even briefly, you step outside the automatic flow of thought. Awareness allows you to notice the mind's activity without being caught up in it. Each return to presence strengthens your ability to dwell in this deeper level of consciousness, where life is fully experienced. Emotions are closely tied to thought. Anxiety, anger, and fear are often linked to imagined futures or interpreted pasts. By observing these emotions without reacting, you begin to step beyond the stories the mind creates. Awareness reveals that emotions, like thoughts, are temporary and do not define your true self. When you step beyond thought, you experience emotions fully without being controlled by them. Beyond thought, there is clarity, calm, and true presence. Moving beyond thought also transforms how you interact with the world. When your mind is quiet and you are fully present, responses arise naturally and effortlessly. You no longer react automatically to situations. Instead, your actions emerge from clarity and awareness. Decisions become simpler and more effective because they are rooted in presence rather than mental noise. Another key aspect of moving beyond thought is deep listening and attention. When you are fully aware, listening becomes more than hearing words. It becomes presence. You notice tone, body language, and subtle shifts in energy. Communication improves because you are no longer filtered through the mind's judgments or egoic expectations. You are present, open, and responsive. True awareness listens without judgment. True understanding arises beyond thought. Even ordinary daily activities can become profound when experienced beyond thought. Walking, breathing, eating, or even observing nature becomes a full experience when attention rests in presence. Life does not need to be extraordinary to be fully lived. Awareness itself transforms each moment into depth and meaning. The ego thrives on thought, especially thoughts of comparison, fear, and desire. By stepping beyond thought, the ego loses its dominance. You begin to see situations clearly, without distortion or unnecessary judgment. You respond to challenges with calm and clarity, rather than fear or pride. Awareness beyond thought allows life to flow naturally, without mental interference. The mind's stories fade when attention rests in awareness. Ego loses power, and freedom emerges. Moving beyond thought is also a path to inner peace. Most suffering is created by identification with mental patterns, regret, worry, and fear. When you observe thoughts without attachment, you reduce their power. Inattention diminishes, and a sense of calm and stability naturally arises. Awareness beyond thought is not passive. It is dynamic, present, and alive. This state of consciousness allows for deeper creativity and insight. The mind is no longer trapped in habitual patterns or repetitive thinking. In presence, solutions and ideas arise effortlessly. Clarity emerges without forcing or striving. Action flows naturally, aligned with reality rather than being dictated by mental resistance or anxiety. Beyond thought, intelligence arises effortlessly. Awareness is both power and clarity. Even brief moments beyond thought accumulate over time. Every pause, every act of noticing, every return to presence strengthens your connection to awareness. Slowly, living beyond thought becomes a natural way of being. The mind continues to produce ideas, but they no longer dominate your life. You are free to act consciously, experience fully, and live with peace and purpose. Relationships also benefit when you move beyond thought. Most conflict arises from mental interpretations and judgments. Awareness allows you to see interactions clearly, without overlaying them with stories or expectations. You respond to others with calmness, understanding, and empathy. Presence beyond thought enhances communication, connection, and harmony. Beyond thought, connection becomes real. Presence replaces judgment, and freedom replaces fear. Stepping beyond thought does not require special conditions, achievements, or circumstances. Awareness is always available. Even a single moment of noticing, of breathing, sensing, or observing reconnects you to this deeper consciousness. Life becomes richer because you are no longer filtered through the mind's constant chatter. Presence itself becomes your anchor, your guide, and your source of power. You do not need to escape thought. You only need to notice it and step into awareness. There, life is complete. In conclusion, moving beyond thought is a practice of observation, presence, and awareness. It does not eliminate thinking, but it removes thought from the center of your identity. You discover that life is richer, clearer, and more meaningful when experienced beyond the mind's chatter. Awareness beyond thought brings freedom, peace, and the power to live fully in each moment. Beyond thought, you are not the mind. You are the awareness in which life unfolds. Chapter 9: Conscious Action. Most people go through life on autopilot. They react to circumstances, to emotions, and to the constant stream of thoughts. Decisions are often driven by habit, fear, or desire rather than clarity and presence. Conscious action is the practice of living intentionally, of responding to life from awareness instead of being dominated by mental patterns. It is the key to creating a life of purpose, peace, and real effectiveness. Conscious action begins with awareness. Before reacting, take a moment to observe your thoughts, emotions, and impulses. Notice what is arising in the mind without judgment. In that pause, you create space, a space where choice becomes possible. This moment of awareness, even if brief, is the foundation for intentional action. Awareness creates space. Space allows conscious choice instead of automatic reaction. Most actions in life are unconscious. People act from habit, conditioned responses, or egoic desires. These actions may seem necessary or urgent, but they often lead to mistakes, stress, and conflict. Conscious action shifts this pattern. By acting with awareness, every decision becomes deliberate, every step grounded in clarity, and every response aligned with your highest intention. The mind often pressures you to act quickly, to force outcomes, or to solve problems immediately. Ego-driven action is reactive. It responds to fear, comparison, or expectation. Conscious action, on the other hand, flows from presence. It is calm, focused, and effective because it is not driven by mental agitation or attachment to results. Action guided by awareness is effortless. Action driven by thought is struggle. A key part of conscious action is alignment with the present moment. Life exists only now. Plans, goals, and strategies are important, but they must be executed from a place of presence. When attention is fully in the moment, actions are precise and meaningful. You act without distraction, without anxiety, and without being pulled by mental noise. Presence amplifies effectiveness. Emotions play a role in action, but in conscious action, they are observed rather than allowed to control behavior. Anger, fear, or desire may arise, but they are not automatically acted upon. Awareness creates a pause, the space in which you can respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This pause transforms ordinary responses into conscious choices. You are not your emotions, you are the awareness that observes them. From that awareness, you can act with clarity. Conscious action also requires letting go of attachment to results. Many actions are guided by the expectation of outcomes. The mind wants to control, predict, and secure success. This attachment creates tension and reduces effectiveness. When you act from presence and awareness, the focus is on the quality and intention of action, not on controlling the future. Results emerge naturally when attention is fully in the now. Another aspect of conscious action is responsibility. When you act consciously, you take full responsibility for your choices without blaming circumstances or other people. You see your role clearly and you engage with life directly. Responsibility is empowering, not burdensome, because it frees you from unconscious reactions and regret. Conscious action is responsibility without resistance. It is freedom in every choice. Even simple daily tasks can be transformed through conscious action. Washing dishes, walking, listening to someone, or responding to emails becomes an opportunity for awareness. Each act, no matter how small, becomes a practice in presence and deliberate choice. Over time, this strengthens the ability to live fully and intentionally in all areas of life. Relationships are profoundly affected by conscious action. Most misunderstandings arise from reactive behavior. Ego-driven responses create tension, conflict, and disconnection. Acting consciously allows you to respond with calm, understanding, and clarity. Presence in action enhances communication, empathy, and trust. Others naturally respond to the energy of clarity and awareness, creating harmonious interactions. Conscious action transforms every interaction. Presence replaces reaction, understanding replaces judgment. Conscious action also enhances creativity and problem-solving. When the mind is quiet, without attachment to outcomes or distraction by thought patterns, insight emerges naturally. Solutions often appear effortlessly because awareness allows you to see clearly without distortion. Action flows from understanding, not struggle or compulsion. The practice of conscious action is continuous. Each moment presents a choice: react unconsciously or act with awareness. Each return to presence strengthens your ability to live intentionally. Over time, conscious action becomes a natural state. Life is no longer dominated by mental noise or automatic reactions. It is guided by clarity, intention, and calm presence. Every conscious choice strengthens freedom. Every aware action deepens presence. Life becomes a practice of intentional living. Even challenges and difficulties are transformed through conscious action. When faced with obstacles, you no longer react from fear, frustration, or egoic desire. Instead, you observe the situation clearly, consider your options, and respond with deliberate intention. This approach not only resolves challenges more effectively, but also reduces inattention and increases resilience. Letting go of attachment to past mistakes or future worries is essential in conscious action. Regret and fear often dominate behavior, causing repeated errors or hesitation. Awareness allows you to act from clarity, free from the chains of what was or what might be. Each moment becomes an opportunity to choose consciously, to engage fully, and to live with integrity. Conscious action arises from clarity, not compulsion. It flows from awareness, not from thought alone. In conclusion, conscious action is the practice of living intentionally. It is the integration of awareness, presence, and responsibility in every act. It transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for clarity, growth, and freedom. By observing thoughts and emotions, aligning with the present, and letting go of attachment to outcomes, conscious action becomes a natural way of life. Life is the sum of our actions. Make them conscious. Live fully, act from awareness, and freedom will follow. Chapter 10. Living in Presence. Living in presence is the culmination of all the practices explored in previous chapters. It is the ability to remain fully aware, fully alive, and fully engaged in the present moment, regardless of circumstances. Presence is not an achievement or a distant goal. It is always available. Every breath, every sensation, every thought offers an opportunity to connect with life as it is, here and now. Most people move through life on autopilot, constantly distracted by the past or the future. Memories, regrets, and imagined scenarios dominate their minds. They act from fear, desire, or habit rather than clarity. Living in presence means stepping out of this unconscious flow and engaging with life consciously. It is the art of noticing your thoughts, your emotions, your body, and your surroundings without judgment or distraction. Presence is life itself. It is the awareness in which all things unfold. Presence is not the absence of thought. Thoughts will continue to arise and emotions will appear. The key is awareness, noticing them without being carried away. When you are present, you observe thoughts as passing clouds and emotions as waves on the ocean. You are not defined by them. You are the awareness that sees, hears, and feels. This perspective changes everything. Awareness brings freedom. Freedom from mental patterns, fear, and ego. Freedom from the constant pull of past and future. When you are fully present, you are not trapped by stories, judgments, or expectations. Life is experienced directly in its fullness and richness. Presence allows you to engage with the world without distraction, to act with clarity, and to respond with intention rather than reaction. The present moment is the doorway to freedom. Awareness is the key. Living in presence also transforms emotions. Most suffering arises from resisting what is, from attachment to outcomes, or from identification with thought. Presence allows you to experience emotions fully without being controlled by them. Fear, anger, and sadness lose intensity when observed with awareness. Joy, gratitude, and peace emerge naturally when attention rests in the now. Even ordinary actions become profound in presence. Walking, eating, breathing, listening, or speaking can be experienced fully when attention is focused on the moment. Presence does not require extraordinary circumstances. Every action, no matter how simple, becomes an opportunity to practice awareness, to deepen connection with life, and to cultivate inner calm. Presence transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Relationships are deeply enhanced through presence. Most conflicts and misunderstandings arise from ego, expectation, and reactive thought. When you interact from presence, you listen fully, speak with clarity, and respond with understanding. Presence dissolves tension, creates harmony, and deepens connection. It is a silent force that nurtures empathy, compassion, and authenticity. Presence also amplifies conscious action. Actions taken from awareness are deliberate, focused, and aligned with reality. Decisions are clearer, communication is more effective, and life flows naturally. Presence allows you to act with intention rather than compulsion, to move with grace rather than resistance, and to engage fully without distraction. To act from presence is to move with life, not against it. Even challenges and difficulties are transformed through presence. Life will inevitably bring obstacles, stress, and uncertainty. Presence does not remove these challenges, but it changes your relationship to them. You respond with clarity, calm, and focus rather than fear or reactivity. You see solutions more clearly, act more effectively, and maintain inner balance. Awareness allows you to navigate life with strength, ease, and purpose. A key element of living in presence is acceptance of what is. Presence requires acknowledging reality without resistance. Acceptance does not mean passivity or resignation. It means facing life as it is, without unnecessary struggle. This creates space for conscious choice and purposeful action. When you accept the present moment fully, energy is released, creativity flows, and clarity arises naturally. Acceptance is the doorway to presence. Resistance is the doorway to suffering. Living in presence also brings a sense of timelessness. When attention is fully in the moment, the mind's obsession with past and future diminishes. You realize that life is happening now and that the present contains all that is necessary. This timeless awareness reduces stress, strengthens resilience, and opens space for inner peace. Presence deepens connection to life itself. You notice the beauty, subtlety, and depth of each moment. You feel gratitude for existence itself. You engage with the world more fully, appreciating what is rather than yearning for what could be. This state nurtures inner joy, balance, and fulfillment, independent of external circumstances. Presence is